Hi, this is Bahi from the RiffXR dev team. You know me by the name GameHoDev in Discord, and this is my tutorial, my advices, my tips on how to make your own avatar and bring it to the RiffXR game. This is a lengthy video and it will cover very much every aspect of the avatar creation from the beginning of importing it from your favorite DCC, whatever it's Blender or Maya or FBX file, and how to put it in RiffXR. I'll also cover some information about the precaution to make on how to prepare your avatar so it will be RiffXR compatible, and I will end up by doing all the steps and finish by uploading your avatar to mod.io. So without further ado, let's start this lecture. First thing first, you must start by grabbing your SDK from our official website. So go ahead to the riffxr.com and go to the SDK section, which will get you here. And from there, you can download the RiffXR SDK. The first thing you must do is download it. And once the SDK downloaded, you can see that the current version is RiffXR SDK 3.0. You go to the place where the SDK is there, you copy it, and you put it on a folder where you can find it. So I already created an SDK RiffXR folder where I did put this download. So next step would be to extract it. And now you can see I can have my RiffXR SDK open. First thing first, there's a README, so please go ahead and read it. This is an important one. The first thing it will talk about is the .ulp files. This is the files needed for your avatar generation. So the first thing you must do when you start your RiffXR SDK stuff, start by putting these two files, in the profile folder of Unreal Engine. So you found it Engine, Programs, Unreal Front End, and Profiles. Sometimes if you don't have this profile folder, you have to create it. So let's start the SDK without it and see what happens. You can see that the SDK starts by compiling shaders. This is a normal process. Just wait for it until it finishes. So this is the SDK once you launch it. And you can see there's already some folders there. You can find the characters folder, developers, interaction, examples, and you do have this data folder, maps folder, and finally engine folder. And the most important folder for you is the plugin folder. This is where your plugin will live. So the Riff SDK is based on plugins. Whether you are bringing a character or you're bringing a map, they all will live in this folder. So let's put this aside and let's work for the project launcher. This is the important place where you will generate. I already put my ULP files, so this is why you can see that I already have this one, the Quest Mode Adatars, and the Riff SDK build plugin. And both are already there in the folder, the one described here, the engine. Let's see where these ULP files live. So usually you have to go to Programs, Epic Games, UE5.5, Engine. So you have to go to Programs, Unreal Front End, and you need to have this Profiles folder there. If it's not, just create a new folder, Profiles, which I did. Usually it doesn't have it by default. So create a Profiles folder and put the two ULP file here. So this is the ULP file you need for the generation for the Quest. And this one goes for the Windows version. Both should be here. Once you have that, when you go back to the project launcher, you can start the generation of your project. Cool. So, how you add your avatar to the game? The first thing you have to do is go to the edit, plugins, and from there you need to click on this add button to add the new plugin, and you select this content only option. And of course you put on the name of the plugin. So let's say if it's a character, you should put the name of the character here and then create your character. So my ultimate source for characters is always I go to Sketchfab and look for the character. Okay, so always make sure that the character is already rigged because it's an important step. And the Thanos character we selected seems not to be rigged. I can rig it, but it will take much longer to finish this video. So I will look for one character that is rigged. Okay, so I go for the Sketchfab and try to get some characters that are already rigged and of course that are free. So let's download this one and see. So this is Kaiju number 8. Let's create a folder for it. Thanos, let's forget about it. Let me name this one Kaiju E, for example. Okay. So meanwhile, it should already download this Kaiju character. So I will copy and paste it in the folder. So this is an FBX file. It contains another zip which I will extract. There you are. So we can see that we do have this Kaiju file already there. So first thing, let's try to bring it to Unreal and see what happens. Okay, if there's any problem, we'll go back to Blender and try to correct it. So always let's remember, when you start to create a new character, go to plugins, add content in only, and let's name it Kaiju E. I'll put on, and here you can put the name of the author, create plugin, and there we are. So we end up with the Kaiju E, and we do an import of the FBX to Unreal. So I'll go here and look for the character and look for the FBX file. So let me rename it. So I do have a cool name there, and let's start by importing the FBX file. So this is how to import it. Click on import, it will start the import process. So we can see that the character already have some issues maybe. Let's see what happens. So there's some polygons, no polygon fonts. Okay, we do have some issues, but let's continue. Let's see what we have. So this is the character. It has something like 1.77, which is little short, and there you have the skeletal mesh. And let's go to edit skeleton mesh and see what do we have. So right there we already have a problem. You can see that we have a scale of 100, and this is bad for the next steps of the creation. So this character definitely need adjustment in Blender. This is what we will do. So I will not continue. I will stop right there. I put on a save, but I will not keep these files. Okay, I will go to Blender and start by correcting the file. Okay. So the usual process, you need 0.01. This is how I do the stuff. And bring the FBX here. This one maybe need a complete rework, but we don't know. Let's see what we have. So this is Kaiju E, FBX import, there it is. So HYNIX is not important right here. What is important is to have the correct scale for the file, and of course let's try to correct these steps. The first thing would be to keep only the LOD 0 and remove this one, because the LOD is managed by Unreal, so no need for this one. But careful when you start to remove the geometry in Blender, because you end up with some problems. That doesn't seem like LOD stuff. I've been mistaken. It seems like geometry. So I can't remove these finally. I don't think I can remove this one, so I'll keep them. But what I will need to do is to join the geometry, because you can see that it's not okay. And you can see that the roots, bones are there, spine, everything. It's rigged, it's okay. But we do have the scale problem with this one. So what I will do, I will start by select all and apply scale. This is very important. This way I do have a correct scale when working. So the way to do that, you do Control A and do apply scale and transform. So this is the way to do it. And let's go to this view, and from there we can continue. So the way you can see that the character is pretty small. It's 1.6 meter, which is too much small, and I need to scale it a bit. So what I will do, I select all with A and go with the scale with S and do the scaling until I have a satisfying, let's say 1.87. It should be okay. I will copy this scale, do a save, and start by saving the Blender file and give it the same name. So there I have my Blender file. I do a save. The next step would be to join the geometry. So for that I select the object and I go to object mode and join the geometry. This way I have the same geometry. So I will select, make sure that I don't select the skeleton. It's okay. Object, join. Now I should have only one geometry and the skeleton that go with it. And the good stuff is that we do have these materials that are in the same place and same shape. So this is, so you can see now that, look for the scale here. It's not correct, it should be 1. So what I will do a scale for the skeleton, and now I can see that it's correct. Let me check all the bones, and we should be good to go. So what I will do, I will save now. Now that I verified that the skeleton is okay, the scale is okay, now we should have a good character to bring to RiffXR. So the first step would be to do an export FBX, and to differentiate it for the first one, I will put on scale. I put on an S to say that I scaled it and it's correct. So do an import FBX like it is, and perhaps maybe I go with the copy mode, so I copy also the textures with it. And maybe go to the geometry and put on the edge, so this way I can have a smooth geometry. So no need to bake any animation. I don't think it has any animation at all, so I'll remove this one and do the export. So once you do that, you go back to Unreal, to the SDK. I will remove this one because I know they already have a problem. So remove and do the import process again. So we'll import this one, but I go with KJUES because this is one I corrected. So open, click on, leave pretty much the default options and import. Okay, so some minor issues, but no problems at all. Okay, we can ignore those and continue the process. So do save, and maybe I will pin this so I don't have to go back and forth between the two. There you are. Okay, let's check the skeleton mesh and see what we have. We have corrected the scale. We are something like 2 meters. And let's edit the skeleton mesh and see what happens. Before going further, if you don't have this, you make sure that you have the skeleton mesh plugin there, the skeleton mesh editing tools. Check it on your project because it comes with Unreal 5.3, I guess, and up and above, and you should check it if you don't have this tool here. So once we do have that, let's check the scale of the skeleton, and you can see that we don't have any problem whatsoever with the scale, and you can see that the scale here doesn't change. This is where you check your scale, and I think now we do have the scale corrected because we already scaled it in Blender before coming here to Unreal. So I think this model is ready to continue. So this is very important. Before shading, before doing anything else, make sure that the scale are okay and is correct. There's also, you can edit the weights because it's a very important step. Weights are how much the bones do change your mesh. So make sure that also these one are ready. So I will remove this, don't care with this one. What is important for me is to have these, and of course for the arm. So I do have these arms. This is the important part because we need to check that we do have arms that are correctly edited and that have good weights for our skeleton mesh. And of course you should check the index. So I think it's all good except for some organization that I don't like, which is if you guess, you see that we do have a bone here, and I always prefer having a root as the first bone. So it shouldn't stop the SDK from working, but it's just a matter of organization. I prefer always to have this one correct, and you can see that there's also some problem with the pelvis. So this one should be at some place and not here, but okay, the SDK can correct this, so it's not that much important. If it does cause problem, we go back and correct it. So what I will do, I will just unparent this one, this bone, and remove this one because I don't want to start from this name. I want to start from the root, and the root is okay. It should be okay now. So once you do a change, you just accept and we can continue. So of course we need to merge the skeleton, and there we are. Okay, so we'll do a save, and once we do have that, you can see that we have the model which is not correctly shaded, so we need to shade it. And the way to do that, you just go to the material and bring on the textures that are needed. And if you remember, when you start the process of importing, the FBX will leave, you can see that we have leave behind the textures here. So we need to bring them 2D model. Now the way to do that, I create a new folder, name it textures, and I put all the materials there. This is like how I keep my work organized. And here I will bring the textures. So you can go to this folder because it does have all the textures needed. And you can see these are duplicates of the same texture. You can see it's the same. So maybe no need to bring on all these textures because they are the same. Basically, they are the same. So I will bring these three and we should be good to go. Nice. So we should be okay. Put it save. And we need to check now which materials goes where. So, and maybe rename it. The problem with Sketchfab is that you have models that are created, but they are not yours. So you need to check out which is which. So this one is obviously the body. This one is something like the head. And this one is like the face. So let's rename it accordingly. So I go to here. And let's name this one body. This way we don't have to search for which is which, and this way we can go further. So I highlight and I know, so this is something like the head, so we put it like head. And finally this one should be the face, so let's name it face. Okay, so from the textures you can see that this one should be something like the body. And this one is something like the head, and the latest one should be the face. So you can, so let's hook them up and see what happens. And this one is an outline, so my guess is it should be something like black, but we can go back to it. So let's start with body, remove all the stuff generated by Blender, and we need only one texture, the body one. So I bring it here and hook it up. So this is how we do have a body. So do an apply and check what happens. Okay, and you can see that we already have the body there. So this is the body, we are good to go. Let's continue. So I put it here, save this one, and continue with the head and the face. So the face should be this one, so I'll bring it here, remove the Blender stuff, and hook it up directly in the base color, apply, and see that we do have this one. So the remaining should be this one. Let's continue. It should be the head. So this is the head. Do the same, bring the, no, this is the face, so let's bring the head texture. Remove this stuff, I don't need it, and there you are. Okay, let's check our model and we should be good to go. The only thing remaining is the outline, and I guess outline has something to do with let's say the outline of the character. So let's put it on a black color or put it in something like an orange. So see where it is. So do an apply. Okay, I want to see where this one, if it's really important or not. Doesn't seem to do anything, so maybe I just ignore this one. You can see it's not used anyway, so we only have 3 material slots and they are already occupied and done. So this one doesn't have any importance at all, so let's remove it. And that's pretty much it. I think we are okay and we are good to go and start the creation process. Our avatar is ready. The mesh, the skeleton mesh is ready. We already check it, verify it, and we should now be able to continue the creation process. Nice. So let's start with the process. Nice. Let's start with the creation process. So before going there, let me just adjust the size of my thumbnail so you can have a better view of what we are creating. So the place where to start is obviously here. It's the RiffXR tools, and you do have the SDK assistant. There's always a tip on the assistant, so I encourage you to read. So I use this tool to validate the minimum requirements for mode work properly or auto setup mode. It's better to double check everything because the tool is experimental. Yeah, so the devs at our team had made a pretty good job, but it's still in experimental phase, so please bear with us and try to understand each step and try to get the best of it. So the way to go is click on SDK Assistant, and right there we do have this new window where we have preparing pages, we have next, previous step. So there's many things evolving, and we did try to put it as easy and straightforward as possible. So you can have on the first place the type of the skeleton you have. Not any skeletal mesh has the same type, so we put on the most popular ones here. So you have, for example, for Unreal Engine 4 or Unreal Engine 5 skeleton mesh, or the Viroid standard one, the Ready Player Me, and the Reallusion standard. So these are type of softwares that make you create characters, and the SDK has been programmed, coded, so you can take the most of each one. On any dub, just let it on the default, which is try generate from skeleton. So the SDK is smart enough to know which one and what type of avatar you are putting at it. So if you remember, we started the tutorial by using a Fortnite avatar, a Fortnite character, and that means that de facto the skeleton mesh for it is a UE5 type of skeleton. So let's go with the first step is to select the skeletal mesh, and once you select it, you can see that the SDK start by grabbing information from it automatically. So this is the first step. The next step would be we click on this button, next step, and once you click on it, you have this IK retargeter empty slots that are waiting for you to click on the button. All you have to do is create generate mode asset, and this is what we'll do. So if I create, you see that we do have now asset generation finished successfully, and I click on OK. You can see that after clicking the button, you now have these new information put in there. That means that you already had this IK retargeter, the skeleton has been updated, we have a twist arm control that has been generated for you automatically, and finally you have an IK retargeter and the IK rig. So let's start by saving all these and dive in each and every one of them. The first thing I always do is go to the recorder, the IK retargeter, because if it is okay, everything should be okay from there. So the way to test is just putting some animation, and you can see that we already have the walk, the idle, the many, you have a range of motion, and this is the way to test your avatar to see if it has some problems in it. And so far you can see that this one is already okay. You can dance, go in a lotus position. So everything okay. This is going very okay. Next step would be to check the IK, and you can see that the IK already created goals for us, and these are the goals needed by the Riff game to accept the avatar. So what I will do right there, you can see that we already have a problem here, and we will correct it, no worries. So let's put it aside. This one has an arm twist on the wrist. There's a twist on the wrist, so we have to fix it, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's go to the animation blueprint. So warning, do not change. So if it says do not change, don't do it, okay? And we go to the animation graph, and look, what do we have? We do have this Riff hand pose generator. It's waiting for the hand pose. And of course, we have some details there. Great. So far, we do have the physical asset there, so no worries for physical. And let's check now the sockets of the character, because these are really important. So I select socket, and from here, let's hide these one and hide the bones. And this will leave us with the socket needed by the game. We have something like 15 socket, and every one of them has a purpose. So the avatar height, need to check the height of the avatar. This one will look for the view. This is where you are supposed to put it, just right before the eyes of the character. This one is for the left gun, and so on and so forth. Just focus on the three ones that are important: the avatar height, the HND view, and the reload ammo, because these one have specific roles and specific importance. So the way I do it, usually I always go in this front view and check for the ammo and put it right here, because it's important. This is where you reload your guns. Let me remove the scale, the snap, so I can put where I want. And the avatar height should be pretty much at the highest point of the avatar of his head. The player info should be above it. And finally, the HMD view should be somewhere here. There we are. So if I go back to the perspective view, each socket is where it is supposed to be. For the wrist, it's okay. So this is pretty much the only correction you have to do. But like I said, if you scale correctly your avatar, you are good to go. Nice. So we do have the animation blueprint. It's all good. We do have it. It's great. And now we already checked the skeleton. All good. And now what we need to do is to add the hand pose for the for your avatar to have the fingers working. So the way to do that, I always go to here and right click on the skeletal mesh, and from there you have to go to this option, scripted asset action, and then click on create mode animation blueprint. So this way you can see that I do have the hand pose, a hand pose created for me, and the skeletal mesh updated with the latest information. So the way to do the things here, we have two steps to do on the animation blueprint. The first one, to start by connecting this hand pose and also make reference for the fingers. Let me show that. Okay, so you can't save at this step. You must before go here, take this detail window, put it aside, and go to the animation graph, and from there you do have some new information here. So we do have this one, this RiffXR hand pose generator, and now I need to put the hand pose where it's supposed to be, meaning here. And once you do that, what you need to do now is to go put on the reference for the fingers of your skeletal mesh and do the corresponding finger for each and every one. So there's 10 fingers and each one should be put there. So if you are using, for example, temp 1, you should have temp 1 in UE5 skeleton. So for example, careful with this one, I'll always put the temp right, for example, for the right hand. And so you have 5 fingers for the right hand, and each finger has 3 bones. So it's R, R1, and R2. Same for index R, R1, R2, middle, and so on and so forth. So this is something like 15 input for the right hand and also 15 input for the left hand. So this is a tedious task. I'm okay with you. So the way to gain my tip for that is I do it once for each type of skeleton. So we are using right now as Fortnite UE5 skeleton. So I already done UE5 skeleton before. And the way I start by doing the magic of the copy paste. So I copy all the properties in categories for this creation, and I have them passed in a text file, which is this one. So what I do, I select all the text here, do a copy, right? Copy, and go here and make sure that you are in the animation blueprint, and you are having the detail window here, and from there what you do the paste. So this is the way to do it. Make sure that you are selecting this function, this node, and from there have enough room to do the paste correctly. And now I go here and right click and do paste all properties and categories. And this way it will save me headaches, time, and it will finish the task correctly. So you can see that for each finger now, it has the corresponding bones. For timber R, 1, 2, and 3, index, and so on and so forth. So the last step would be to compile and save the animation block. Now that we have the hand pose, we're still having other things to continue. One of them would be to finish the hand pose, because the hand pose is generated, but it doesn't mean that it handles the movement of your fingers once you are in game. So what we need to do now is to add a pose. So the way to do that, I go to add pose from current. Once you add the pose from the current, so now you have to update the rotation of each finger. And the way to do that, if you have a Fortnite avatar like this one or UE5 avatar, usually I use snapping for that. So I can go fast with the creation of the avatar. And with an avatar, with the Fortnite one, usually use a 60-degree snap. It should be one to go with. So this is how I do it. I go here, then I change the angle to this one. So this way I can see all the fingers. And I continue the process like this. And of course, verify if it's still okay. So you can see it's still good from this angle. And I continue back to this one and do the remaining rotation for each finger. So I'm with the middle now. Same. And finally, I go with the pinky. And you can see it's okay. It's pretty much okay. The hand seems to close correctly. And finally, I end with the thumb. So the way I do the thumb is always come here, go with the 60 rotation, and then I go to the thumb 2 and go with the 31. And this will bring you a pretty much good hand closed. So you can see from this angle it's okay, and from this one it's okay. It's perfect. So while I'm still in the 30-degree, what I do, I go to the next hand and I do the same for the thumb right. So I scroll down to the thumb 2 right and go with the 30-degree rotation. And then I go back to the 60-degree rotation and do it like this. So of course I have to continue the process. Let me remove this message and continue the process for the remaining fingers. So I have to scroll for the index. So you need to be in a good angle for that. There we are. In my opinion, this is the most tedious task you have in the whole process creation. But hey, not everything can be automatically done. So there's still some working to do. And this is part of the fun of doing characters. So I did go with the pinky, but no worries. It doesn't matter. Whatever the order, you can go with whatever order, it doesn't matter. So make sure that you are in the correct bone, and we should be okay with the last one, which is the ring. Okay, so I think we are okay for the both hands. So the next step, and the most important one, is to update the current pose. So I have to update the pose now to the current, which is an important step. This way it will keep the information. So how do I know that everything is okay? You just have to scroll, you do a drag and drop with this, and you can see that the hand are closing correctly. You can go and zoom out, and you can see that now the hand pose is correct. So if you have this and it's correct, you are good to go. So what's the remaining step? In my opinion, we already checked most of the steps, except for the control twist. I need to add the control rig to the animation blueprint so it handles the twist of the wrist. So if you see now, let me show you this. You can see that the twist is not correctly handled. So you can see that this is a classic problem with characters. You see that the geometry is totally twisted and it's not good. It's not okay. So what we need is to update. So we need to update now the control rig, which is the solution we found for this. So let me go back to the default view. And now what I need to do is go to the animation blueprint and go to the animation graph. And now I need to add the control rig. So you can put it here, you can put it here, whatever the place. Or you can already use the one that has been provided to you with the SDK, which is this one. So you can hit please hook the twist control tool generated for you here. Because if you remember, we already have an arm twist created for us, which is this control rig. So if I open it, so this one, this code, this control rig has one purpose, is to correct the twist you did see earlier. So what I will do now, I will inform the animation blueprint. Unfortunately, we can do it automatically, so you have to just go a further step. And now we should inform it with this control rig. So now we have to put the Kaiju arm twist, and this is the twist control that has been generated for us. It has the same name. I select it and do a compile. So the class for the twist is this one. It's the only modification you have to do. It's already there. It's already generated automatically for you, and you are good to go. Let's verify if actually the control rig that we added corrected the twist bone. Now if I start doing the rotation on the x-axis, now you should see that the twist has been corrected. So this is how you can see and you know that you are good to go with your wrist twist. So let's check on the other hand, on the right hand, and you can see that the rotation and the twist has been corrected. Now the latest step, and I know it's a lengthy video, sorry for that, I try to cover much topic, is to add now the data asset. And the way to do that, you go to MISC and add data asset. And from there, you select the DA UGC avatar. You select and you give it a name, something like DA Kaiju. Give it the same name of your avatar. And now you are good to go. So once you have that, you open it. You open the skeletal mesh. It's the required step. It's important. And now you put the corresponding skeletal mesh in its socket and the IK retargeter in its socket. And now you click save and you are good to go. So that's pretty much it. I think I covered everything you need to know about the creation of the avatar in our latest SDK. Now we will do the generation step, so we can do it, and I will guide you how to set up your generation process, and we finish with this one, okay? Before we start the generation process, we need some organization in the disk, and the way to do that, you have to specify a folder for the generation of your avatar. So the way to do that, always we start from this place where we have the project launcher, and we already configured in the beginning of this video the ULP file and the profiles, so we can generate the avatar. We need to edit the profile and make sure that we are on the right in the right folder for the generation. So for that, you need to browse and be sure that you are in the good place to generate the project. So we go, for example, for this package, and now I will create a folder, and be careful to pick the folder the same name as your avatar. And when I say the same name, it's supposed that you have the same exact name for the one you have named the plugin. So if you are in Daft, you go here to your plugin, to your avatar, and you click on Show in Explorer, and now you do have this name, and this is the name you will use to create your generation. So I go back to the project launcher and click on Browse, and I do the browse to the folder, and I say select the folder and make sure to make the name of the avatar here. So this is two important steps you do, and you do that for each profile you have. So this one is for the Quest generation, and this one is for the Windows generation. So I need to do both. Now that I have copied the name, all I do, I have to paste it here, and same, I do the paste for the name here. Once I do that, I go to the list button, this little button here, and I click on launch this profile. So it will start the generation process for Android, which is the Quest And once I finish with Android, I go to the Windows one and I select it. So bear in mind that I already have my Android environment set up. There's plenty of guides on the internet on how to set up your Android environment for UE5. So please go with that and set up your Android environment. The same goes also for your Windows configuration. It's important to have also the Windows configuration already set up. And you can verify here that I do have Android ready and also my Windows setup ready. So this is why the launcher will do his job. It's important before doing that. So what it will do now, it will cook the content, and once it finishes, we are good to go. So I click in done and do the same. You can check always that it's the name is correct, and you see that it goes flawlessly because my setup is correct. And also make sure that the name of the folder is correct. This is very important. And I think the last step after that is how to upload your avatar to mode.io. So I will anticipate with this one and I click. And make sure you're in your account so you can upload. So once we do have this generation finished, we are now sure that we do have the avatar in its package and waiting for upload. So this is the Kaiju, the Android and the Windows. And now I need to look for the package file, because before uploading it to the mode.io, it has to be in a zip file. So what I will do, I will compress it on a zip file. Okay, I want it in my desktop, so I will put it in my desktop. And now I should have the two files, one for Windows, there you are, and the second one should be for Quest, which is Android file. So if I go back to the place where the mode.io, Riff mode.io, I can upload now my avatar. So the way to do that is to add a new mode, and the way to do that, before going to upload, I need to put on a thumbnail. So the way I do that, I always grab just the skeletal mesh and I put it here and I take a screenshot. This is the way I do things. So if it's not perfect, okay, but it does the job. Okay, let's put it here where it can have some lighting. Okay, so there you are. I will close this one so I have a better shot. And I go in game mode. There you are, and I take a screenshot. And once I do this, I will go to my avatar thumbnails and I create the thumbnail for this one. So I need this one. I modify it. I use Paint. So better tools on the simple one. I will crop it, something like this. Maybe it's too much. Okay, there you are. I put a name for it. I put it in JPEG file, and I'll name it Kaiju. Save, and now I can upload my avatar. And the way to do that, I go to this icon, add mode, to this button. Start by uploading the thumbnail, and it's already there waiting for me. Adjust it, and maybe I can crop it so I have less of the arms, or maybe it's okay. Let's go with it. And now I give it a name, and I already have the Kaiju name. I'm not sure. Let's put it Kaiju E copy paste here, and do with Kaiju RiffXR avatar. Next step, what you do avatar, select the version. We are using 5.5 version SDK. We are in the 3.1, so this one should do. I'll put it in dev because we need to test it. We need the approval before it goes live. So I'll put it in the dev environment so we can test it. Nice, so we do have the mod Kaiju E has been created. So the next step, I will save and next. I don't have any YouTube URL, so I'll start with the Windows version of the avatar, put on the version 1.0, select the zip file we already created last, and select the Windows version. So once I select it, you can see that it's pretty much little in size character because we do have only one texture for the albedo, so it's not taking too much space. Actually, it's the textures that always make the avatar have much space. So before uploading, always make sure that you check your textures. So if you have oversized, maybe you have duplicate textures or content which is not important. So right now, save and next, and I will activate it. Save, next, and now our avatar should be ready for testing. So last step, name, avatar 5.5, 3.0, dev. The media is not there, but the files are there. Wait. So I need to check if we do have files. And now I think we are good to go. I'm not sure because maybe the size is too. Let me upload it. I think when I activated the file, I lose this. I lost it. So always make sure to go to the file section before going anywhere. Mod.io has tendency to put on some weird bugs. So always check that you have uploaded the file in the file section. And now we are okay. So this avatar now is waiting for validation. So this is it. It's been a long video because we covered so much. So if you make it till now, till this moment of the video, thank you for following with us. So I thank you for watching and see you in my next lecture on the avatar. This being a lengthy one, I didn't cover let's say every detail of the creation. For example, we didn't see how to create a character. This one is the job of the modeler. We didn't see how to set up our Android or Windows environment. You can see plenty of videos on YouTube, on the internet about that. So the main focus of this lecture from beginning to finish, how to import your avatar, make sure it's been scaled correctly, how to do the texture or the shading in Unreal, how to put on the Riff SDK and create all the asset needed by the game, and how to upload it to mod.io. So I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.